Welcome to the Sports Porch Philadelphia.
Welcome, one and all.
We are live. We are live all over the world on Facebook, Twitter, Twitter, X, whatever the hell it is, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. And we are also going to drop the podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And you want to know what, Mark? You can always get us. You can find us. You can catch us.
You can.
At theporcheslive.com, theporcheslive.com.
Theporcheslive.com. Just click on the Philadelphia tab, the only tab that matters.
It is. It is the only tab that matters. And you know what? We may or may not have a surprise.
Coming up. Here. I wouldn't say it's a surprise since I've been promoting it all week.
Yeah. Well, you never know. You just want to, again, somebody's going to make a phone call.
We might have a special call in any minute.
And it would be really special.
Any minute.
And just thinking about this call in, it makes me hungry. And I had some chicken wings for lunch today, and I bet they're not as good.
I bet they're not.
I bet
they're not. And I'm pretty darn hungry myself.
I
am.
But you've been hungry for 35 years at least, because that's how long I've known you. And I've never known you not to be hungry.
I mean, what else is there besides eating good food in this world?
I mean, I can think of like two things, but eating good food is up there. It's up there. Yeah,
it is.
Definitely.
It's important.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, look, let's just start the show off right now with something that is very, very important, and that is football season has started.
It did start.
That's right. And the England. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied. Maybe too much coffee today. I was going to say the Englands. Yeah. I was combining the Eagles and New England. The Eagles won in New England yesterday. They start 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, if you're watching on social media, down in the bottom of the ticker there, the Eagles win in New England, start 1-0. The good, the bad, and the what? I mean, I watched this game. We made our predictions. I predicted the Eagles would lose this game because I thought they would come out flat. And Belichick, man, he's a gamer. He's a weasel. And their offense looked a little flat. Now they did score a decent amount of points, but of course, they got off to a pretty good start, and the offense didn't have to do anything.
Right, that's the thing. They were up 16-0. And I actually think that kind of threw their game plan off. Like all of a sudden it's like, okay, now we just have to protect the lead. Let's run it into the line. And well, wait a minute. We still have football to play.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 5 minutes in and they were up 16-0.
Something like that.
Yeah. Or 8 minutes in or something like that.
Yeah. Now it was kind of interesting. I did see something on the ticker that suggest or on X.
Yeah.
Stat on X.
I hate that.
Oh,
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Call.
Wait a minute. I think let's I think we got something coming in here. Yeah, I know I have to answer it. There we go. This is the Sports Porch Philadelphia. Who am I speaking with?
This is Curly.
Curly.
Hey, Curly. How you doing?
Excellent.
Great. Thanks for calling in. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate the invite.
You got it. So, hey, we just want to have you on for a little bit here just to hear a little bit about your story. So, this was the 5th year of our Philadelphia Beautiful Cheesesteak competition. And you guys went all the way this year. Your fans, your customers really came out and supported you. So what did it mean to you?
Well, first I would like to congratulate all the competitors in this year's competition.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion, all of us are winners. Everybody that you guys put into the competition, okay, we all benefited from it. The customers, the fans. It was just a great thing for everybody involved.
And for those of you watching and listening, this is Curly of Curly's Comfort Food. They won the 2023 Philadelphia Beautiful Cheesesteak Championship as voted on by all the fans. And it was like an 8-week contest?
Yeah, it was like an 8-week contest, you know,
bracketology.
A little bit of
bracketology.
18,000 votes. Yeah. And Curly is right. I mean, your favorite place. I mean, everybody's got got their own favorite place, right? But the bottom line is that a lot of people's favorite place is Curly's, and those fans, those loyal customers, they came out and they supported Curly and his place, and obviously, a lot of great food out there in Philadelphia and New Jersey, surrounding areas. And bottom line, Curly's place, everybody loves it. And so we couldn't be more happy for, Curly's and their staff and, all the customers who got excited about it.
So how long have you been in business, Curly?
We've been going since 2010 in the restaurant side of it. We've been doing buffalo wing sauce since 2006. But you know what? Let's talk about the fans and customers here for a minute.
Yeah.
They just came out really, really big. I mean, I was in shock. I couldn't believe all the support. I mean, every year it's the same thing in regards to just like everything in general. We have the greatest fans, the greatest support as far as our customers. They're just so supportive of us. I really can't appreciate that enough. It's just really, it's a blessing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we're getting a comment here from Nick who says best ever, definitely comfort food. So there's a fan tuning in right now,
From
giving
Nick
you
Louts.
a compliment there.
Thanks,
And
Nick.
Go ahead, Curly.
I just said thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. That's all.
And Steve wants to know, what kind of bread do you use on your cheesesteaks? Steve's a bread aficionado, apparently.
We use a Versa seeded.
Okay.
A Versa seeded?
Yep, seeded. That's kind of a staple.
Yeah.
I went through. It's kind of funny. I went through about 100 different breads for the Italian stick before I decided on a Versa. Okay, for multiple reasons. I mean, some bread tasted a little better, some bread was this or that, but a Versa ended up being the most sturdy. And since we put so much meat on our cheesesteaks, it just held in the juices for us, and that was the deciding factor.
Now
I appreciate it too.
Now I'm really hungry. He says that. So how did you get into the wing business and then the cheesesteak business, Curly?
Well, so way back in the day, I worked at a bar and we served really good wings. And the owner passed away, unfortunately. Really, really, really great guy. Anyway, so we went ahead and we bottled our sauce that we used at the bar, and we started selling the sauce. And somebody at a local Metro Columbus over here seen us, and they asked if we'd be interested in renting the kitchen from them. And we're like, sure. And this was in 2010. And so then we just started serving wings and cheesesteaks, the basic stuff, of course, comfort food, because that's what I do. And then from there, it just grew. Okay, everybody loves wings and cheesesteaks, right?
Yes.
Right.
I had wings for lunch today. And they were subpar, and I still enjoyed them.
And the funny thing is I did compete in the wing bowl a few times, and that sort of kind of brought the whole aura of a Curly and wings, and that's how it kind of all started in a sense.
And so bring us to the cheesesteak, because this was the cheesesteak championship. So,
I also know they're very well known for using Cooper Sharp,
the cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about maybe 5 years ago, we decided to get a little more serious about our cheesesteaks, and so we really shopped around. We got a really nice ribeye that we were using. Everybody used American cheese. Okay, everybody used American cheese, and we decided that we want to be different. And so we threw Cooper in there, and it was unique. And we had some people that liked it, some people that were like, but over the course of time, now it's become really popular.
Mhm.
And so it's really cool. I mean, it's a good tasting cheesesteak as far as the Cooper cheese in there. I really like it. A lot of places are taking all sorts of twists on it now. They're putting truffle oil in there and making it taste really good. They're smoking it now. So it's really cool how the Cooper start, went from like obscurity
Right.
to now it's really popular.
Yeah, there's a lot of places out there who've adopted it now.
So I'm just kind of hoping that we don't go too far down the foodie route with cheesesteaks, because you know what I mean? Like when I moved to Philly, and and Mark here introduced me to cheesesteaks back in like 1989, and my introduction to cheesesteaks, was one of the famous joints down in the Italian market. And but then, of course, living in Philly for years, I ended up eating a number of different cheesesteaks and fell in love with them. And for me, I fell in love with the simplicity of it. It's a cheesesteak, and there's no place you can get a cheesesteak except in Philly. I mean, I've been all over the world now, and I haven't had cheesesteaks everywhere I've gone, because I wasn't going to order a Philly cheesesteak in Florence, Italy, but I've had cheesesteaks in just about every city in America I've been in, and it just doesn't compare.
Yeah,
So,
no, they're not as good.
No.
I mean, the bread is really important.
Yes.
which Curly kind of addressed, and whether I think having like Cooper Sharp is a big deal.
Yeah, go ahead, Curly.
I believe that the founders of the cheesesteaks, Pat and Gino's, they brought it. They're the ones that found it. I feel, and everybody is emulating and trying to exceed what they have done. They use a nice, sturdy roll. Meat is tasty. The cheese is salty in there. That's pretty much it. Now, how other places in the world, as far as in the country, serve their cheesesteaks, I don't know. I haven't had one out of Philadelphia, I'll be honest with you.
I wouldn't expect you to either.
Yeah, they're not good.
They're not.
I can tell you that.
No, I'm completely in agreement.
I think the bread here, and the culture itself. I think it's just, we do cheesesteaks in Philly, and that's what we do.
Yeah. Yep.
That's right.
Well, Philly does a lot of things good, but cheesesteaks is definitely near the top of the list. For sure. So yeah, we're looking forward to coming out to your place sometime either September or October. Yep.
And just looking forward to meeting you in person, having some good food. So we can't wait to get down there.
Let me do a shout out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Staff.
Yeah, absolutely.
My staff was more excited about this competition than anybody I know. They were just over it. They were loving it, and they tuned into it, and they just absorbed it, and they put forth so much effort. I appreciate that from them.
And you know what? We appreciate it too, because like Mark was saying, this was his brainchild 5 years ago in Philadelphia Beautiful, and he started it. And it this year, it just seemed like it kind of
went to a new level.
It kind of went to a new level, and really to see all of the people, the restaurants, the businesses, the employees, the fans, the patrons. We were actually, I think, getting more excited than all of you. Seriously, every week it was, and every contest that we posted, every matchup, it was like a 24/7 thing. I don't think I got any sleep watching the votes come in.
Right.
And
they were coming in fast.
They were.
Especially for when it was Curly's versus Lilo's.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like 300 votes were coming in like every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So we appreciate, how much you guys put yourself into this, and your staff as well. I mean, I just blew me away. I thought it was great. And I, for one, can't wait to come out there either and try one of those cheesesteaks, because it's been a while since I've had a good one, to be honest with you. So,
I look forward to seeing you guys. And I think it'd be a good time to have some cheesesteaks and some other things I'll give you. You know, I wanted to thank you guys again, though. I'm not sure if people realize how much this means, but the small businesses, this recognition. Everybody in the competition had elevated business, and it's because of what you guys are doing. And I, for one, want to express my gratitude, and I'm sure all the business owners that were part of this also to express their gratitude to you guys.
Well,
and of course the fans.
Well,
the fans.
you're
Love.
you're certainly welcome. I mean,
Yeah.
it would be great if we could say, yeah, our plan was to get everybody all this business. You know, we were just having fun. Yeah. And you know what? I think sometimes when you just throw out that good energy into the world and you just want to have a good time and people benefit from it, then you have a good time and people benefit from it. And that's great. And I do. Yeah. I think it's wonderful. I just want to get a quick couple comments in here real quick. Our buddy Pat, who we call Pat on Track all the time, who usually doesn't have anything
relevant to say,
right, that we can understand. Never had a good cheesesteak outside of southeastern PA. You know, of course, it's Philly, Pat. He's already off track.
Right.
Once had a mini cheesesteak in South Florida that made me say, but there's something else there. Okay, thank you, Pat on Track. Steve is actually headed to Curly's in October. He must be going to see his son down at Temple.
Yep.
So you'll get another guy from our show in Pittsburgh, Steve. He's headed to see you in October. And Emily says, go Birds. And of course, we were talking about the Eagles when Curly's call came in.
Yep.
Are you a football? Yeah. Are you a football fan, Curly? Are you an Eagles fan?
Am I an Eagles fan?
Yeah. We're going to put you.
I was a 21-year season ticket holder for the Eagles.
Oh, wow.
I finally gave them up the year before the Super Bowl.
Oh, no.
because I couldn't get to any games anymore.
Yeah.
And so I finally said, that's it. I can't do this anymore. It's a shame too. But hey, you know what? Go Birds. I still have all my jerseys. I wear them. I root for my team.
Very nice. Very nice. 1-0, Curly. 1-0.
Yeah.
What? Hey, you know what though?
What?
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how it went down as long as we brought home the W.
That's right. You just got to get the dub.
That's exactly right.
Especially against them rotten Patriots.
Yes. Yes. At least most of the world can join us in their hatred of the Patriots. Right?
Yes, this is true. This is true. Well, I thought it was a good game. I picked them to lose this game because I thought they would come out flat. I wasn't 100% on that pick though, because they're the better team. But it was good to see him get a win. And I think next week, or actually Thursday night,
right, I
think they're going to end up looking a little better because they shook the rust off.
Right.
When you can shake the rust off and get a win in the first game, that's a good thing. So, well, listen, Curly.
Thank you, Curly, for coming on. We really appreciate it. We're really looking forward to getting out there soon. And just thanks again for, your customers, for your staff, for everyone who got so excited about this. We're thrilled that you guys, did so well. And hey, if that brought you a little bit of extra business along the way,
absolutely,
then fantastic.
Yeah.
We're really excited about it.
We appreciate everything, guys.
Hey, man,
right.
You're welcome.
Take care.
We'll talk to you soon, Curly.
All right, Marcus. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, that was Curly from Curly's Comfort Food in Levittown. And if you're watching live on the show, you can see this is a really bad ripped picture from the internet.
Right.
We'll take a better picture when we're down there, though. We'll get a real one. But Curly's Comfort Food, bringing a little bit of comfort back to Bucks County. Fresh cut cheesesteaks, wings, mac and cheese, burgers, and more. I'm actually a little nervous about going out there because, in case anybody hasn't noticed.
Your stomach might explode.
I know. I mean, I like to eat, but I don't need to eat.
Yeah, I know.
But I have a feeling I'm going to be eating when I go out there. So, thanks again, Curly. Thanks to everybody who participated, all the businesses and everything. And this contest will be back in the spring, summer of next year. And Curly's will defend their championship.
They will defend their title.
Defend their title.
And you can tell Curly's just a great guy.
Good guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Very good guy.
Absolutely. That's what you want to see. And you know what? Small business is what makes America work. It really is. I mean,
and a class act too, basically showing appreciation to everybody in the contest.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So let's go back to the Eagles.
Right,
so
let's bring it back to the Eagles now.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
So I thought that was a good victory. I thought by the end of the game, the Eagles actually looked pretty good. What's the status on? Didn't Nakobe Dean get hurt? Foot injury?
So
what's his status?
So here's the injury updates.
Right.
Injury updates. Nakobe Dean, they expect to be out for about 4 weeks.
Oof. Okay.
So it was an injury, but he doesn't need surgery.
Okay.
Just 4 weeks rest. And, that is kind of significant because, he is pretty much he's a potentially star to be, but he's not quite a star yet.
Right.
But he's the main linebacker on the team.
Right.
They only go with 2 linebackers, really.
Yeah. So
now, they, for example, they signed today a guy named Rashad Evans, who I do like his pedigree, played at Alabama. In 2018, he was a first-round pick of the Tennessee Titans.
Right.
He played for Atlanta last year, started all 17 games. Believe it or not, like 159 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
2 sacks, 4 passes defended, couple forced fumbles, scored a touchdown on a fumble recovery. But somehow, some way, this guy wasn't on a team.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, there could be other issues there, but I
don't know. So you got to plug in a linebacker. Now, also to James Bradbury's going through the concussion protocol.
Right.
So he's almost no chance for Thursday.
Probably not. Yep.
Good news on Fletcher Cox. He was fine.
Right.
MRI came back perfectly clear. They said they expect him to play on Thursday.
Yep.
So, injuries, there were some of significance. But, I guess not the end of the world at this moment.
Right. And so I think the defense played pretty well, especially considering and special teams.
Yeah.
What kind of worries me and it is, you look at Hurts's numbers, 22 of 33, 170 yards with 1 touchdown. He was sacked 3 times for 16 yards. His quarterback rating for the game was 89. He rushed for 37 yards. You had Gainwell, who had 14 carries for 54 yards. They didn't use Swift basically at all. Boston Scott had 1 carry that I saw, and that's all he got.
They had Rashard Penny as a healthy scratch.
Yeah, he didn't even play.
He's your thumper, and it's a rain game.
Yeah.
And no targets to Goddard.
Yeah.
What in the world happened there?
Yeah. And you would think that in a game where it's hard for them to stretch the field. Right. And Goddard was actually, watching that game, he was open a few times. Yeah. So these are all adjustments. And that's what, when we started the year and I said, I thought they would lose this game, this was the reason why. And again, they didn't lose. So, but if you take away that special teams and the defensive, the touchdowns,
right,
they lost the game. So the offense didn't win this game, but that's why you have a good defense.
Yeah. I think here's the thing. On the needs improvement side, right?
Right.
Now you have to recognize too, this is Brian Johnson, new offensive coordinator. Okay. Now it's not like he's never called plays. He called plays at Florida where he was the offensive coordinator, but it's college, right?
Right.
And he's going up against Bill Belichick with 6 months to prepare in his first game.
Yep. And that's what we talked about. Yeah, that's what we talked about.
And I don't know if it was, I don't think it was Romo saying it. It was somebody actually, John Ritchie on WIP from this morning. He's a former Eagles player.
Right.
And he was saying that there were some looks given yesterday by Belichick in the defense that he had never seen before.
Huh.
Which was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
You think, how's that possible?
Oh, yeah. Right? With Belichick, anything is possible.
Right. So that was interesting. You have a little bit of the rust factor. Nobody played in the preseason.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And, but here's the one thing that I want to caution the Eagles on a little bit.
I'm sure they're listening.
I'm sure they're listening right now. Nick Sirianni is just typing me a little text. Hey, what is it, Mark? And, let me put it to you this way. I felt like the offense played, I don't know if the right word's conservative, but almost like afraid to get injured.
Well, yeah, that, and also after when Hurts fumbled the ball, which was reminiscent of the Super Bowl.
Right. Except this was a real fumble.
It was a real fumble, but that was something that I think you're right. I think definitely when they got out to that lead and they really did, the offense hadn't really even been on the field yet.
Right.
It was more of okay, let's not screw this up.
Right. But here's the thing that I'm a little concerned about, which is, so a lot of people are now taking the vantage point of, okay, you now have, your franchise quarterback, you paid him. He's now the 4th highest paid player in the league. And, you can't risk injury to him. Yeah. And to me, it looked to me like there was a concerted effort to not run him as much as they usually do.
Maybe.
And here's the thing. I mean, I get that, but I think there's got to be a balance to it as well, because keep in mind, the threat of Hurts running is part of what opens a lot of things up.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Because you either have
it's not part of it. It's a big part of it.
You have to keep a spy on him,
yes.
or that type of thing. And I just felt like, he ended up with 9 carries on the game, but I really think that's kind of sort of like an underestimate of what it it seems more than it was.
Right.
It seems more than it was.
Gotcha.
There were like a couple times at the end of the game that I felt they just said, okay, we're actually in trouble. We might lose this game. Hurts, go get us the first down.
Right.
You know what I mean? Instead of it being incorporated into the actual game plan.
Well, yeah. And again, I think if you go back and you look at you look at the game and you watch the tape and you see how it unfolded, New England was playing from behind and Philly jumped out to an early lead and they didn't need the offense for that. And I think they actually handled it right. I agree with you from the standpoint of, look, you paid the guy to play this way. I mean, that's basically what you're saying.
Right.
And if you go conservative and you take that part of the game plan out because you're afraid of your investment, well, then why did you make the investment in the first place?
Right.
But it's only one game and it happened the way it did. You'll see in Minnesota that's do they play in Minnesota?
I think it's at home.
Yeah, I think it's at home. Right. Yeah. So, you'll see when Minnesota comes into town, totally different defense.
Right.
Not nearly. I mean, look, the Patriots, first of all, they've got a good coach.
And they've got a good defense.
And those guys were fast.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Steve threw up a question, why can't the Eagles run the ball? Well, I mean, it's one game. Yeah. I don't think it's that they can't run the ball. I think it's that who'd have thought you'd be taken out of your game plan by an early lead. But I do think that's what happened. Pat on track as Bills fans hoping Josh Allen wouldn't run as much. You can tell these guys not to run as much. They hear please slide more. Okay.
Yeah.
Put down the Manhattan, Pat.
Pat off track. I get what he's saying. To answer Steve's question from my point of view, I think it was a couple things. One was, Brian Johnson, brand new offensive coordinator. I don't think that he necessarily dialed up the best plays. A lot of them were just like straight into the line.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought he did very poorly was he didn't utilize, the whole idea with the Eagles this year is supposed to be like a 4-headed monster.
Yep.
And all you did was use like Kenny Gainwell in the first drive, and that was about it.
Yeah. Steve brings up a good point.
Yeah.
With a lead,
you
would be running the ball more.
Right.
Even in today's NFL.
Right. And they weren't. And the other part of it too, and one thing I will say is even though the Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in the league, They also kind of got off to a rough start against Detroit last year. And again, I think that comes back to not playing at all in the preseason.
Yeah.
So, your Eagles defensive line, I guarantee you it looks better this week and it'll look a little bit better the next and the next, but the line didn't have a particularly good game. Even though they didn't, it was they gave up a couple sacks. I think Mailata and Kelsey and Lane Johnson didn't give up any, but they gave up some Harrys and so look, we'll have to see. I mean, I expect DeAndre Swift to have a much bigger role in the run game.
I was looking for that during the game, and that we're getting to halftime, and I'm thinking I think I've seen him on the field once.
Right, and look, this is something the Eagles can be a little guilty of. In the first game last season, Devontae Smith had no catches.
Right,
so
he had 7 yesterday.
Yeah, so what that means. That means that this week Dallas Goedert is going to get at least 5 catches.
I hope for our fantasy team sake that would be good.
And DeAndre Swift is going to get at least, 12 carries at least.
Actually, I think it's a really good sign when you have Dallas Goedert as your tight end on your fantasy team. He gets absolutely no targets.
Yep.
And you win.
Right.
So that was for both the Eagles and our fantasy team.
Right. Exactly.
So,
but let's go to the other side of the ball.
Right.
As well, which I think, we'd be amiss if we didn't talk about Jalen Carter. The first round draft pick out of Georgia.
Absolutely.
He was dominant. Now look, I don't know why this number seems to keep going up through the day, but I was pretty sure when I went to bed last night, he had 6 Harrys. And then sometime this morning, it got all the way up to he had like 9 Harrys or something like that. Something like that. But he had a crucial sack at an important point in the game. And whether he had 6, 7, 8, or 9 Harrys, he was all over the place yesterday.
Yeah, he had a sack and a tackle for a loss, and he was blasting through that line. And I'll tell you, they really, at least from the first game standpoint, it's 17 game season, but the early returns on him look like he definitely can handle himself there. And as he gets more confident, and as that line gets more confident again, but as if they don't have any confidence, he's going to end up being a force, and they're going to look pretty good for taking him, as long as he doesn't drag race on the school kill.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly.
Which I used to do when that was fun.
You did.
So I can understand that.
You avoided missing, ending your life numerous times.
Yeah.
But
by just a smidge. Right.
But I will tell you, I mean, he looked good. There were some statistics out there where this was the best graded. Well, first of all, he was the highest graded defensive tackle by Pro Football Focus for the entire league this week.
Right.
And he was the first, I think, rookie to have this many Harrys and a sack since 2015 or something.
Yep.
So those are good. Also, Jordan Davis looked like
pretty good.
He looked like he's ready to make the leap in year 2.
Yep.
To becoming a really, really good player.
Yep.
And did you see the stat that I sent to you that had the amount of time it takes to get off your rush or something?
Yep.
And it was
the 3 of them almost all of them were Eagles, and 3 of them were over 315 pounds or something, which I would assume includes Fletcher Cox. Right. Because he looks like he's 400 pounds.
Right. So,
right.
So yeah, I mean the pass rush is going to be good again.
Oh yeah, their defense and Darius Slay
is a playmaker.
Slay was playing.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a playmaker.
Definitely.
He had a good game. I thought Reed Blankenship had a pretty good game too.
Yep, I agree.
So, but there are a few concerns. You got the linebacker concern. I'm not sure about the second safety. They started Justin Evans over Terrell Edmonds. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're it's a 50-50 coin flip as to who's better,
Yeah.
But, I wasn't really thrilled with what we got out of that position. I did like Josh Jobe, who came in. He's our third corner, unrestricted, undrafted free agent.
He played well. He played very well.
I thought he played well, which was good. Of course, you have Jake Elliott. Did Did I tell you that? Like, or I don't know if you listened to my podcast, which I'm still having issues with, but
we'll get to that.
But did you realize this? I would have never thought that this stat had such few amount of kickers. There's only 6 kickers in history that have had 2 50-plus yard field goals in the same game.
What?
Isn't that crazy?
Let me guess. Justin Tucker is one of them.
Well, I don't know the list. I don't know the list.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to be a professional. Let's bring the list.
You're right. You're right. But really, that shocked me. I thought it would be more than that.
It's in this day and age in the NFL. It shocks me only because in the last 5 years, 50-yard field goals are now, I don't want to say gimmies, but they're tried on a regular basis.
They are.
Up until about 5-6 years ago,
right?
It was like, 50-yard field goal. Right. I don't know if we should do this. Now it's kind of like if it's 49-52, well, we're kicking. Most of the time.
Right.
So,
but he hit it. Yeah. He had a 51 and a 56.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
Yeah.
He did bank in a 40-yard.
I saw that. Yeah.
But the one thing,
a bank shot's as good as a swish. So
all I have to say though is, I mean, our punter sucks.
Yes, he does.
He's so bad. How about the double clutching punt?
Oh my God. What was he thinking? Yeah, the guy's he's gonna block it. Oops, and then right.
Oh my God.
But didn't they call that? They called that back though, because they said they didn't call it back.
Man downfield.
Yeah, but they didn't call that though. Didn't they say he was being pulled or something? Maybe that was another play.
It was a legal man downfield.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Whatever.
So I was just.
That's right. And Belichick made him kick it again, and the net was better for the Patriots. That's what Belichick plays chess, man. That's what he does.
But but my thought was like, look, if the only reason why you're on this team is to be a great holder for Jake Elliott,
right?
Well, he did miss an extra point, and he had to bank in a field goal,
right?
So get him the hell out of here.
Yeah, seriously.
Get him out.
The least you could do is practice punting, because it's obvious you don't practice.
He's just not good.
I know.
He's just not good.
Hey, listen, there's another punter on the other side of the state that's just as bad. So yeah, it's always been a mystery to me when you, I mean, I get it if you have a punter who's bad through the course of the year, and it's like, okay, we'll change punters next year. Here's what I don't understand. What in the world is going on with this Matt Ariza? He was the punter, right?
Who was
for Buffalo that was accused of sexual harassment.
Who was completely acquitted,
right?
And from what I understand, he wasn't even at the place where this happened.
It's kryptonite, man. It's society right now.
But it's ridiculous. Like, how? I mean, you got to be saying to yourself, like, why would the Eagles or any other team not bring this guy in?
I don't know.
And you would have to think like, well, is there more to the story? Is there more? Is there something that we don't know?
Yeah.
But come on.
Yeah.
He was acquitted. He wasn't there.
Yeah. I get it.
I mean, how can you? I just feel like this guy's being
at the risk of making some people mad. It's called cancel culture, Mark. Unfortunately,
I don't know what that is.
Unfortunately, we are guilty until proven innocent, and even when we're proven innocent, because it becomes a non-issue or a non-story, you're screwed. So, I feel bad for this guy if there's nothing more to the story and they were able to prove that it had nothing to do with him. But yeah, you're right. If the guy's out there and he can kick the ball 100 yards in the air, why not grab him?
Hey, listen, I mean, I'm sorry, but like the Eagles did sign Michael Vick. Right? Yeah. And we know for a fact he tortured dogs.
Yeah, well, he spent a little time
and he went to prison.
Yeah, I know.
This guy has been completely cleared and apparently wasn't even where the incident happened.
Yeah, well.
I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, what can you say? It was one of those, a win is a win is a win. And all I can say is it was not fun. The other part of it too, which I guess kind of made for a little bit more of a negative football Sunday, was that both the 49ers and the Cowboys demolished their teams.
Yeah. Oh, and let me tell you something. I watched that Dallas Giants game. I don't think it was more of an indictment
On
of
the
the Giants and how horrible they are.
Well, yeah, here's a blocked field goal, an
As a-
interception,
as
return.
opposed to
Yeah.
right, the Cowboys and how good they are. Although what I will say about that game, one takeaway from that game is that the Cowboys defense this year
It was good.
is going to be very, very good. And dare I say, probably as good as the Eagles defense. So the Giants, to me, I was never a believer in Daniel Jones. And Saquon Barkley, I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
I just don't see that team. The Commanders won. They beat a bad Cardinals team.
Barely.
So they're right. So they're
Right.
they're high on themselves right
Right.
now, but they're just not there yet.
No.
But I'll tell you that Dallas's defense, that's going to be a tough defense to overcome, especially when they play them. And I think that's going to be the rivalry in the East. Either one of those teams is going to have a shot, the Eagles or the Cowboys.
And I have to admit, I mean, the turd looked good yesterday.
Purdy. Yeah. Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah. He did look good.
First quarterback ever in his first 6 starts to throw 2 touchdowns in each game.
Yeah. Well, he's had
or more.
He's had 7 or 8 starts. He was
like
7-1 last year. 7-1. Yeah.
Was he? Did he lose a game?
Yeah, he did lose a game. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I happened to watch the game.
Okay.
They brought it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the Niners look good. The wild card for them is Christian McCaffrey. I mean, if he stays healthy, they are unstoppable on offense. Yeah. And then Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
Wow, that guy. He can. I mean, Deebo Samuel was like, second tier yesterday. Hargrave had a sack. It's really early in the year. Really early.
It is.
A
lot can happen.
But given if you look at the games that were played yesterday, I think that at this point, I think there's a very good chance that the Eagles, the Niners, and the Cowboys in the NFC are going to be the teams to beat. Cowboys less so, because they can implode.
Yeah, and you kind of don't believe in Dak.
It's hard.
Hard to believe.
It's hard. Yeah, and their running game. I know Tony Pollard, but they've got a good offensive line.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see there. But their defense will keep them in games.
Yeah.
That Micah Parsons, man, he is fast.
Oh yeah.
He reminds me of LT. Just in his jump off the ball. Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah. So, all right. Good win for the Eagles going into Thursday night. I clearly expect them to win this game. I am a believer in Kirk Cousins, as you make fun of me all the time, because I think Kirk Cousins is the unluckiest great quarterback in the NFL. But from what I saw yesterday, and they lost that game against Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay, look, their defense doesn't have it. And this is the game where the Eagles offense can shake that rust off and get back to their winning ways. And, Cousins he's going to lay a couple eggs up there for Darius Slay.
Hopefully
he will. No doubt. No doubt. The question for this game is going to be, can their offense get on track? And if they come out and they play offense and they have a good game plan, they'll win this game. No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know what I picked them to do from the beginning of the year. I just think they're going to win this game now.
Yeah. Well, you picked the Vikings to go far.
Yeah, I did. I picked them to go to the championship game. I picked Eagles Vikings.
Right. But you know how it is. Like, look, bottom line is Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year. I think they lost the first game last year. If they didn't, they lost the second game.
They lost the first game this year.
Right.
To Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be a team that turns out to be like the number 1 or the number 2 seed that starts out 2-2.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a long way to go.
All right. So now we got to move on to something that is a little more pressing, and that is the Phillies still in the number 1 wild card in spite of some recent struggles like today.
Yep. Today.
But let's do a quick one, because we're going to, once they go into the playoffs, we're going to ramp it up a little bit more.
Right. Hey, by the way, Kyle Schwarber is hitting 200.
Ah, there we go. Finally.
He made it.
Finally.
He made it. He better have a good night tonight or he could lose it.
He does not disappoint. He does not disappoint. Yeah, the headline is Braves survive Bryce Harper's tying homer in the ninth to beat the Phillies 10-8 in game 1 of the doubleheader. The Phillies are now 78 and 65. They are firmly, as far as the wild card goes, because I don't think they're going to win the National League East.
I don't think so either.
Probably not. They're 3.5 games up over the Diamondbacks. The Cubs, I told you. I just feel proud of myself because I said the Cubs were going to make the playoffs like back in June, and here they are. But they are 3.5 games of Phillies up, and what are we at? 78 and 65. So that's 143. So they got 19 games left to go. Knock on wood, it would be a miserable, horrible collapse.
So they have to go. They have to go 12-7 to win 90 games.
Yeah. So I mean, is it possible? Absolutely. They do play the Braves again tonight. I say just go 500 and you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, you just got to get in. I do think it's important to get the home field in the first round.
Yeah. That would help.
So, you want to hold on to that spot. But, bottom line is when you get to the playoffs, that's the thing about the playoffs now. Like, your first, I believe it's your first series. And that was the second series. Well, the first series is when you're in a wild card is best of 3. And then the second series is best of 5. So what often happens is, you win game 1 in a best of 3 or best of 5, you're in the driver's seat. So
right.
That's basically what it's looking like. So, I don't really see it happening this year for whatever reason, but you never know. That's why they play the games.
Yeah.
Trey Turner continues his explosion. He's got 25 homers on the year now.
Yeah.
So amazing. He's up to like 72 RBIs. So he's probably going to finish with 28 home runs.
Yeah, he's going to get close to 30,
doubles, 80 RBIs.
Yeah.
And he's 23 for 23 on stolen bases.
Not bad.
Pretty good. He's actually turning out to have a pretty decent year. And the Phillies were down in that first game 8-4. And in the 7th, he had a 2-run homer to make it 8-6.
Yeah. So,
they got back.
You're getting the Trey Turner that you thought you were going to get
right now at this point.
The problem I see here, and this is where it gets precarious, is you lost the first game against Atlanta. You got 3 more. The one they're basically they just started, and 2 more against Atlanta. So then you go to St. Louis for 3. Should be easy. But then you hit Atlanta for 3.
Again, yeah.
Then you go for 4 at home against New York. Now the Mets are out of it, but they hate the Phillies as much as the Phillies hate the Mets. Then you got 3 against a Pittsburgh team that has absolutely no direction whatsoever at home, and then you finish in New York. So this whole Atlanta, New York thing, that to me, if you're looking at the schedule and you're worried, that's troublesome. But if they just ride the momentum they've been playing with, they should be okay. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm not really concerned about New York. It's the game.
Well, they're terrible.
It's the games with Atlanta.
Yeah,
is what could throw a wrench into things a little bit, and a lot, and it also has to do with what the other teams in wild card position do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
So
who are we battling against?
Well, the Cubs are the only one that's really got a legitimate shot at taking over the number 1.
Yeah, because they're a game and a half behind.
Yeah, so let's see what's their schedule like.
The Cubs, looking at the Cubs, they are playing the Rockies tonight. But let me pull up the Cubs schedule. They are 77 and 67, and they have 3 in Colorado, 3 in Arizona, 3 home versus Pittsburgh, and then Colorado again at home, and then 3. They finish up with 6 straight tough games, 3 at Atlanta and 3 at Milwaukee. So
Okay.
that's
All right.
those are playoff series right there.
Yeah.
If you think about it. So
yeah.
I mean, you could argue that their schedule is a little tougher because they've got 6. They've got 3 against Arizona. And then Atlanta and Milwaukee. They've got 9 games against teams that are already pretty much in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
and Pat mentions the second time Bryce goes yard in the bottom of the 9th, both with 2 outs, only to lose. I will say this, Pat, you are on track here.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You are.
Yeah.
And also thank you, Pat, for being our number 1 YouTube watcher.
That is, your plaque is in the mail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So listen, as always, I want to remind you guys that you can catch the Sports Porch Philadelphia podcast sometime right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We drop it after the show. And of course, you can catch the Phillies report before or after every series on the Sports Porch Philadelphia podcast, and the Eagles report right after every Eagles game. You dropped one earlier today. I must confess, I listened to all your reports. I didn't listen to this one yet. I had a couple pressing issues today.
Pressing issues.
Yeah, I had to eat wings for lunch. So
I see that. That was more important.
Generally, it is.
You weren't able to have the podcast on whilst you ate.
No, I like to concentrate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I like to contemplate my pledge period.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Exactly.
Good.
Not sure what this means. Right back off track. Glasses, purple, yellow, diamond.
Where the hell is he?
I don't know.
Where
Maybe he's trying to put up an emoji or something.
Pat, I don't know what. You were on track and you were off track just like that, Pat.
All right. I've had it.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes. First, we want to thank Curly's Comfort Food in Levittown for joining us on the show. And again, congratulate them as the Philadelphia Beautiful 2023 Cheesesteak champion. But most of all, we want to congratulate everybody who participated and thank them for, for taking an active role in this and supporting local businesses. So that's awesome. Yep. Get out to Curly's, get out to Lilo's, go back and look at the bracket. Maybe Mark will post it again.
And you're welcome.
And and get out and support these local businesses. Remember, you can catch the Sports Porch Philadelphia podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. And you can always visit us at theporcheslive.com, theporcheslive.com.
Theporcheslive.com. Click on the Philadelphia tab, the only tab that matters.
And we are out.